Rooted in faith, rooted in love, rooted in pride and tradition, the roots of the African American community have been firmly planted, providing an unwavering anchor for our people. As we venture into the 21st century, we must also root ourselves in research connecting our past and present by deepening our understanding of the world in which we live. We invite you to connect with us for the empowering webinar series, Rooted in Research. During this month long series, the Delta Research and Educational Foundation, Black Greek Letter Consortium, Cobb Institute, National Panhellenic Council, Delta Teacher Efficacy Campaign, University of Alabama, and other member experts will explore the intricacies, power, and influence of dominant issues concerning our community. Research is continuous and impacts our daily lives. Research builds knowledge, facilitates learning, increases understanding, spreads public awareness, aids in building success, finds, gauges, and seizes opportunities, and provides an avenue to expose lies and amplify truth. Out of a sincere desire to educate our communities, Dreff Research Matters and the Black Greek Letter Consortium are committed to provide a platform to address topics and share educational and relevant information with large audiences of individuals who represent the underrepresented populations of the United States. During these uncertain times, this show of unity throughout our communities is an effort to shift knowledge and perspectives related to all components of education, empowerment, health, and wellness to those who can benefit. Collectively, we will plant seeds of knowledge in mental, physical, and financial health, as well as grow our understanding in the power of community service, social action, education, and mentorship. Celebrating while educating. The Rooted in Research webinar series is committed to strengthening the African American experience.
What is the All of Us Research Program? The All of Us Research Program is a historic and innovative program designated to gather 1 million participants to create a database for clinical research. The program strives for a database encompassing of volunteers of all backgrounds with a focus on minority and underrepresented populations. This includes communities who have historically insignificant representation in medical research, such as African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, people with disabilities, etc. What is the Precision Medicine Initiative and why is it important? The program was created as a result of a precision medicine initiative announced during the State of the Union address on January 30th, 2015 by the 44th President of the United States, President Barack Obama. He stated, "Doctors have always recognized that every patient is unique, and doctors have always tried to tailor their treatments as best they can to individuals. You can match a blood transfusion to a blood type, which was an important discovery. What if matching cancer care to our genetic code was just as easy? What if figuring out the right dose of medicine was as simple as taking our temperature?" During President Obama's administration, the Precision Medicine Initiative was launched to advance the acceleration of biomedical research and precision medicine. Precision medicine is defined as an emerging approach for disease treatment and prevention that takes into account individual variability in genes, environment, and lifestyle for each person. It can be summed as individualized healthcare based upon the factors that make each person different and unique. Some basic examples of personalized medicine include prescription glasses, insulin use, or hearing aids, which are tailored to the specific individual that is using it. Currently, most medicine is designed for the average patient with a one-size-fits-all approach. This may work for some, but not necessarily for all. So if you're ever taking any type of medicine that didn't fit well with you, the odds are it was probably not a good fit for you. Precision medicine is taking an innovative approach to the things that makes us different and unique, and using those factors towards disease prevention and treatment. What is our role as the BGLC in the All of Us research program? The Black Greek Letter Consortium, which is comprised of the 9 historically Black Greek letter organizations and the governing body of the National Pan-Hellenic Council, have united to promote the importance of precision medicine and participation in clinical research. We recognize instances like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment and the Henrietta Lacks story have caused distrust in the Black community and resistance towards getting involved. We use this knowledge as a driving force to develop campaigns, policies, and opportunities that will uplift and support Black people in our country. Through each organization's national presidents, social media, and on-site activities at various events, we are working together to help generate the diverse database of volunteers needed to get to 1 million or more volunteers. Why now? No more than ever, with the disproportionate numbers of African Americans dying from the COVID-19 pandemic, we are steadfastly working to make sure that all are represented for clinical research. I now have the opportunity to introduce Dr. Glenda Glover. Dr. Glenda Glover, PhD, JD, CPA of Nashville, Tennessee, is the international president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the oldest Greek letter organization established by African American college women. Dr. Glover is a native of Memphis, Tennessee. Her educational development began as a student at Tennessee State University, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics with honors. She earned her Master's of Business Administration degree in accounting at Clark Atlanta University, and her Doctor of Philosophy in Economics and Business degree from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. Dr. Glover earned her Juris Doctor degree from Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C. She is a certified public accountant, a licensed attorney, and one of a handful of African-American women to hold the PhD, CPA, JD combination in the United States. Professionally, Dr. Glover proudly serves as president of Tennessee State University, her beloved alma mater, and is the institution's 8th and first woman president. She's married to Charles Glover, and they have 2 adult children, attorney Candace Glover and Dr. Charles Glover II. I present to you Dr. Glenda Glover, president of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Laura Douglas, for that very detailed and introduction. Very generous. Thank you. It is my pleasure tonight to greet you on behalf of the 300,000 members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. I applaud the All of Us research program and their efforts to gather information from 1 million participants to create this clinical research database that's focused on African Americans and other underrepresented populations. And I am honored to join this important series and begin this discussion on financial health. The theme for Alpha Kappa Alpha's international program for the 4-year period when I preside as president is exemplifying excellence through sustainable service. And one of our program targets specifically addresses financial health. The target has been tagged, Building Your Economic Legacy. The financial effects of almost every aspect of our lives during COVID-19, this pandemic, have been devastating. In addition to the death toll approaching 100,000 nationally, we see the effects of this unprecedented global health crisis and record unemployment claims, which have now eclipsed 30 million. We see rising layoffs and loss of jobs in key industries. The objective of our program and our program targets and tonight's webinar is to talk about improving the financial literacy through education. Financial literacy and financial education go hand in hand. And Alpha Kappa Alpha clearly understands that there's a direct correlation between financial fitness and physical well-being. We appreciate that the stress people experience generally, and especially during this pandemic, really relate to declining values in our finances, the 401k plans, our portfolios and investments, the loss of jobs, the layoffs, depleted savings. All of these things affect our physical well-being as much as our financial well-being. Since its founding in 1908, Alpha Kappa Alpha has been at the forefront of advocacy of women's health issues by providing community programs focused on healthcare issues around the globe. The bottom line is you cannot talk about healthcare without also talking about the things that contribute to overall health, like finances. Alpha Kappa Alpha is pleased to participate with Regions Bank. We have a wonderful collaborative partnership with Regions Bank. And tonight's webinar topic, the power of financial health and entrepreneurship, is more important than ever, especially during these uncertain times caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. So tonight, I'm going to present to you Linda Majors, a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Linda's a graduate of Jackson State University and currently works at Regions Bank, where she's been a branch manager for the past 18 years. Linda is a 3-time Chairman's Club recipient, which is a coveted designation for top branch managers in the company. So Linda's goal is not only to help others become financially secure, but to help them reach and exceed their financial goals, leading to healthier and more satisfying lives. I am so pleased to present to you Linda Majors from Regions Bank, an Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority member. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Glover. We have all encountered many disruptions in our lives due to this pandemic. But the good news is we can choose how we can make changes now that will have a positive outcome on our finances simply by planning ahead. Our topic is how to energize yourself financially. We will focus on these big questions. Why do I need to be confident in my financial decision making? What are my goals, short term, medium term, and long term? And why is saving so important to me during these times? Should my savings plan differ depending upon my age? And where can I go to learn more? It's your financial future. Slide 1, please. 31% of today's consumers plan for their finances. 63% have an emergency fund. 38% live paycheck to paycheck, and 41% feel behind. Next slide. Now more than ever, we must prepare to make the most of our income. Here are some ways to prepare to make the most of your income. Create a snapshot of cash flow by keeping a personal spending diary over a 1-month period. A Regions tool, My Green Insight, is an excellent resource to assist with keeping track of spending. Now save your receipts and log purchases every day. Determine whether your cash flow is positive or negative. Find ways to cut your spending, get a second job, or just help improve your cash flow. Stretch your paycheck to meet a specific goal. Spend less, then you'll have more at the end of your pay period. Now you want to figure out which purchases are needs versus wants.
Spontaneous spending is a budget buster. Again, set financial goals. Overcome the idea that you just don't make enough to put towards your goals. Everyone can carve out small amounts to apply towards the goals they really want to accomplish. It's a decision. You must make it right now, more than ever. You may need to figure out ways to stretch your paycheck to reach a specific goals. Next. Where does your money go? How many times do you ask yourself at the end of the month, where did my money go? Or here are some ways to help you prepare to make the most of your income. Create a budget along with using a budget calculator to help track daily spending. Write your major expenses categories down and record your daily spending throughout the month. It will be a big eye opener when you are tracking what you spend, because how many times do we say, where did that money go over the weekend? Slide 4, please. Knowing your expenses is financial power. Now let's talk about specifics. What are some of those financial goals and how are we going to make those dreams the reality happen now? Next. First, we have to identify those financial goals. Identify what you're going to spend your money on. It could be to send the kids to college, to buy a car, make a down payment on that beautiful home, go on a vacation, pay off credit card debt, or simply just to retire. Organize your financial goals. Break each goal down into small goals, such as short-term goals, things that you want to accomplish in less than 1 year, medium-term goals, which you can complete in 1 to 3 years, and long-term goals that may take you 5 years or longer. It is so important to educate yourself. With a little effort, you can learn enough to make educated decisions that may increase your net worth many times over. Read personal finance books, blogs, podcasts, magazines, and books on managing and growing your money. Meet with a personal banker or your individual financial advisor to help share some insights on how to keep yourself educated. Evaluate your progress is so important. Review your progress regularly, such as monthly or quarterly, to determine if your program is working. If you're not making satisfactory progress on a particular goal, reevaluate your approach and make changes as necessary. Now, keep in mind that setting financial goals not only gives you peace of mind, but it can even motivate you to figure out ways to stretch your income. Next slide. How can you alleviate financial stress? Being that this is such a stressful time for us, the important thing is by knowing your finances well. Set financial goals and make progress towards meeting those goals. And the best place to begin thinking about your finances is at the end. A famous saying is, begin with the end in mind. So what kind of life would you like to live this year, in 5 years, when you retire? The more time you have to plan and save, the easier it will be to have more enjoyment in those later years. Today, tomorrow. Next slide, please. Medium-term goals are those that will support your journey from where you are today to where you want to be in several years from now. With some of your medium-term goals, what things can you envision happening in the coming years that will put you on track for your future? Take a minute, jot down some things that come to your mind, and title them medium-term goals. These are things that you can focus on now to lead you in the right direction. Start a college savings, diversify your investments, contribute maximum to your 401k and IRA. Slide 8. Finally, let's take a look at what you want to do for your retirement. What goals do you have for the time of your life? At the end of your life, just jot down some things that come to your mind and title them long-term goals. These are things that you dream of today as you are preparing for tomorrow. What does retirement look like for you? Is it to have no mortgage payment? Moving to your favorite place? Setting your financial age? Maintaining your pre-retirement standard of living during retirement? So important to keep that standard of living that you experienced prior to your retirement. In order to reach these goals and have the retirement you dream of, please save money now. And do that and understand that the options available to you, and choose the ones that are right for you and your family. Now, reevaluate your goals periodically. Don't be discouraged if everything doesn't happen as planned. Be persistent, be persistent, be persistent, and keep working towards your plan to create your goal. A lot of people like to create a vision board. That way it makes it upfront, personal to them. They can walk past them and see their small increments or big increments of success. Make savings for retirement a priority. Start today, don't stop. Some other long-term goals is an individual retirement account, also known as an IRA. You deposit money into that account yourself. But with a 401k plan, it's a retirement savings plan established by an employer. Employees divert a portion of his or her salary into a long-term investment. Employers may also make matching contributions. To tell you a little story, when I first graduated from college and got my first job, young, thinking that I have forever to start and invest in a 401k. I didn't take my own advice that I'd learned in college to start that 401k. So if you hear nothing else, start a 401k. Some of our younger attendees, start that 401k. You can't afford not to invest at that time. That's basically leaving money on the table. Slide number 9, please. Remember, when developing your retirement savings plan, set realistic goals, goals that you know that you can accomplish. Identify that retirement income needs. Determine how much you need to save. How much money do you want or need to retire? Regents.com has personal calculators to assist with all of those questions. On your retirement savings action plan, ask yourself, what will I do now towards my goals? You can pay yourself first by setting up automatic drafts into your savings account. That way, you don't have to rely on you putting that money in there. It automatically diverts to the account. You won't even miss it. What will you do by the end of the month to save towards your goals? Next month, you could pay off a loan, like a car or a credit card, and continue making those payments into that savings account. Tomorrow is a fresh start. It's never too late to dig in and begin a new journey on your financial success. Today, you will leave with ideas on how to re-energize your financial strategy. Get your financial house in order. Be involved in the day-to-day management of your family's finances. Have a personal plan that includes short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals. Start now to save for goals and retirement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Majors. That was amazing. The information laid out a true vision of financial health, and what we should be thinking. So to me, that was very mindset shifting to see it broken down into those building increments and seeing it in different ways on the screen as you shared that. So we really appreciate that. And Dr. Glover as well, the Sister Aura, for starting us off. Alpha Kappa Alpha brought clarity to financial health and provided some best practices and strategies already. This discussion is moving forward, and we're going to move into Q&A after we bring up Dr. Joy Bradley, who's an assistant professor at the University of Alabama College of Community Health and Sciences. Well, she's going to share a little bit about financial health and how it intersects with research in the All of Us research program. Dr. Bradley.
Hi, and thanks for having me this evening. Everyone has heard the expression health is wealth. In economics, financial health is a term used to describe the state of one's personal monetary affairs. There are many dimensions to financial health, including the amount of money savings you have, how much you put away for retirement, and how much of your income you're spending on fixed or non-discretionary expenses. However, I would like for us to consider financial health as how a person, family, or organization uses their finances and economic resources, and ultimately how those related decisions, behaviors, routines, and habits impact their overall well-being. Researchers can use data from the All of Us Research Program database to explore ways to improve a community's quality of life by improving the financial strength of communities overall, using such variables as productivity, sick days, work-life balance habits, and insurance copays. Now we'll transition to questions from the audience, and these questions are for any of the panel members. The first question is, what can I do if I'm currently experiencing financial hardship?
The number one thing I would say whenever you're experiencing financial hardship is to know exactly the amount of hardship costs to you and your family. You want to reach out to your creditors, number one, and let them know that you are experiencing hardship. They can work out some type of deferral payment up to 90 days, but do reach out to them. And at this time, everyone is making accommodations because we're all in this together, and we can work to help ease some of the stress that you're going through. The second thing is, if you are unemployed, you can file for unemployment to get those benefits started. You can also reach out to family members for support and understanding that can help you. Another thing that you can do during this time is to pull your credit report as time goes on, say within the next 90 days, to ensure that the credit card companies reported that information properly. There are codes that they do during this COVID time that will not show you having late payments. Also, the stimulus money that you got, if there is any way that you can put or set aside a portion just to get you through. But the number one thing is to make sure that you and your family are hitting those essential needs that you have right now. Reach out to any agencies that might be able to extend support to you. At this time, there are many areas or organizations that's out there to help and support.
That's awesome. Awesome information. I love how you gave some resources, like applicable things that people can do like right now, because we know we are in such a special season, a unique space evolve, right? So in that same vein, one of the questions is, how can they manage debt while coping with a job?
How can you manage debt with coping with a job loss? Well, right now, the most important thing, as I mentioned earlier, is making sure that your family is supported with housing, food, the essential things to get you through during this time. That's the number one thing. Again, reach out to the resources that are actually out there that can provide help for you. This is not a time where we need to be embarrassed to ask for help. There are many sources out there at this time that can provide assistance to you. The debt that you have, again, by reaching out to those creditors just to stop the noise right now is vitally important.
I also think it's important not to create new debt. At this time, there's a lot of organizations that know that there are some that have received the stimulus checks.
Yes.
And a lot of times in hard times, a lot of people will go out and raise their credit card debt. So I would say to not create new debt at this time as well.
That's good. That's really, really good. I love both of the answers, but I think for us in our communities, that right there is very important, what Sister Aura said. And I just want to lift that a minute because, you know, we have such a mindset that when you get some money that's coming in, be it if you're in a hard place or not, our communities, when a lump sum come in, then your mind get to go in all kinds of ways and you waste your little stimulus money. So we got to be wise in what we're receiving to get us through this time. So I'm glad you said that so that we don't go out and try to create new debts and even spend frivolously on things that we really do not need in this time. So thank you for lifting that. The next question we have is, should I refinance my mortgage now?
Absolutely. What's best for you, it's an individual thing. I will say what's most important, rates are at an all-time low. You want to count the cost of actually refinancing. Most people will refinance to, one, get a lower interest rate and total cost of the loan. So you want to look at your own individual mortgage. There are calculators that we provide on regents.com that will actually help you with that. If you're saving a certain amount of money, certainly that is going to be the best choice to make at this time. But a lot of customers are currently refinancing. Everybody's busy right now because that's what they're doing because the rates are extremely low. And that way, sometimes when you are refinancing, there might be an extra amount of debt that you do have that can actually help alleviate some of the pressure long term. But you do want to count the costs if it is beneficial for you to refinance your mortgage. And right now is an excellent time to do that.
Awesome. Dr. Joy?
So the next question is somewhat related to that, in thinking about some of the legislation and policies that have passed around the 401ks. So what are your recommendations as far as what should people do with their 401k at this time?
Well, my recommendations, because I had the same questions as everybody, because depending upon when you're going to retire, if you're planning to retire in the next year, 2 years, definitely wait, because hopefully the election's coming up and we're seeing trends where actually the 401k may have taken a little hit, but each week it gets a little better. So sit there. Don't go and make changes right now. But my number one thing I will say is you get with your individual financial advisor, talk with someone, a banker, that can help you determine if that is the best move for you and your family. So I would say with caution, if you get the cost of waiting, the long run, we will see those numbers go back up. So I chose personally to not make any changes and pace myself, but I do want to keep an eye on it often, very often.
Good insight. Thank you so much. So the next question says, should I pay off debt or save?
Well, should you pay off debt or save? Now, think about the credit card debt that you have. What is the interest rate? If your interest rate is extremely high, 22%, and you have a savings account, what is that savings earning? So it may be to your benefit to pay down the debt, because look at your statement. I will challenge everyone, take a look at your statement. If you are not paying your full balance off at the end of each month, go and look and see how much interest you've paid. Look at your savings statement, how much interest you've earned. But I will say top priority is to have an emergency fund, having a place that you can go to when emergencies or unexpected events happen. But it could be to your benefit to definitely pay your credit cards off, but that would be part of your plan. There are calculators. Again, I keep going back to the calculators. There is knowledge out there and educational links that you can link on that's provided that will show you the difference of the cost of paying off debt versus savings. Put those numbers in, base it on your interest rate that you're paying on the credit card. And if you can, most importantly, release and get out of some of the debt that you have with the credit cards. If you're not paying your monthly balance off at the end of the month, divert a lot of that towards your savings. As mentioned, by the end of the year, you can put all that additional monies towards your savings. So to regain that dollar amount and increase your savings.
My mom used to refer to that as deferred gratification.
Yes.
So the last question is, how can I protect myself as it relates to fraud?
That is a wonderful question, because during this time, we see so much fraud. I'll start out with, do you have your Social Security card in your wallet? If you do, take it out. Wallets are lost and stolen every day. You're giving a person access to all of your information. They can go and open accounts. They can go and apply for loans. So make sure you're not carrying your Social Security card in your wallet. Most places don't need it or ask for it. Phone scams. Do not give out any financial information over the phone. We sometimes get calls from the IRS, allegedly, and we sometimes will get a call that said they're with the police department. These are all phone scams. So do not panic because they make these threats that they say that they're going to, one, garnish wages, that they just make threats. So do not give out any personal information. Always monitor your credit report, because if someone is going to do something and you're not aware of that, that's why you always should pull a credit report or access what your credit score is annually. It's free, it's provided to you. Be aware that you can track your spending. You can get text alerts. That way you know that you did or did not do a transaction. And if it's a transaction that you did not do, you contact your bank and they can actually cancel your card. But knowing your finances and tracking and looking at your statements all the time to make sure that you did not do a transaction. Also, when you're going to gas stations and purchasing gas, or also at the ATM, there are sometimes skimmers on that. You want to make sure, kind of pull it and check it and make sure that that information, that when you insert your card, that is truly going into the actual ATM system. Those are some of the ways that you can help protect yourself against fraud. Never give out personal information. If you get a text from a bank that says they need you to click on a link, contact them and ask for any personal information, Social Security numbers, account numbers, online banking IDs. Do not give that information out.
And may I add one last thing to that? Always change your password regularly.
That is true.
And don't use a password that's easily identified, such as your date of birth, or a child's date of birth, or the numbers of your address. Have a password difficult with lots of letters and special characters, and change it as often as possible.
Right. I'll also add to that to install the latest firewall and antivirus software on your computers at home. And sometimes we try to hit those hot spots out there, but that's not always the safest.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing information. Very practical. That's the great thing about this discussion. It's like we're building a foundation for just general knowledge in some places where some people just may not have had this discussion. You know, if you don't move in this area, if you don't have friends in the finance area, this is not a normal discussion. So this is a really, really, really important one on tonight. And I'm so glad that so many people are here to receive these seeds of knowledge, right? These nuggets of wisdom. So we really, really appreciate that. We have a couple more questions if y'all don't mind. We have a couple more minutes that have come in. Do y'all mind if we move forward with a couple more questions?
Absolutely.
All right. All right, well, awesome. So the first one is it a good strategy to file for bankruptcy?
Well, that is a personal choice. If at all possible, if you can avoid doing that, then I would say no. Try to work that out with creditors. But again, seek advice from an attorney. If that is the best route for you and you have no other alternatives at that point, then you may have to do that. I'm not recommending it, but in some situations, when someone becomes ill and they cannot afford the medical bills that are coming in due to loss of jobs, many things that are causing us to think about that, I would say always consult with an attorney to see if that is the best process for you, and consult with your bankers because we might be able to give you some ideas and some choices. So it's always best to talk it out, research, 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 educate yourself to see if that is the right process for your family.
Yeah. Powerful. Anybody else want to talk to that point?
Well, I'll add to that. Sometimes your credit has gotten so bad that you're already you're technically bankrupt to your creditors. And once you consult your financial advisor and ensure and look at what has happened to you over the last years and do the debits and credits on it to find out if that's the right path for you to choose. You know, the majority community has used bankruptcy as a means of starting over many times. In our community, we have to make sure we have enough understanding about the bankruptcy process. And as a lawyer, I don't recommend bankruptcy, but I also recommend that you look at all your options and don't just say no because it is bankruptcy. Look at your options to make sure you're not already so far gone in the credit world that bankruptcy will just give you a brand new start.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that additional perspective to the discussion. I think that's good because everybody's in different places and everybody's journey is different. So to know that that is an option, if it's at that point, is great. So around the entrepreneurship, we have a question here. You know, many people in our community are entrepreneurs. Many people are becoming entrepreneurs. Like the entrepreneurial mindset is really being elevated in our community. And one of the questions says, for entrepreneurs, what is equivalent to investing in a 401k?
I would say to your business owners and starting businesses, the number one thing that I do is I link in my financial advisor. We schedule an appointment. We understand what the business owner's needs are. They can meet with an advisor that will ask them, what is your goal? What is your plan? Are you willing to contribute money to your employees to start a plan for them for retirement? So typically, getting a financial advisor in to sit down with them to create a plan, design a plan that is most efficient for them. Depending upon how many employees they have, how much monthly they want to contribute to that. So the number one reply to that is get with a banker, get with a financial advisor that can help you make the best decisions in that area.
Thank you. So I don't have any other questions at this time, but we can certainly invite Sister Aura, Dr. Glover back up for summary statements from this panel today, this rich panel today. No pun intended, rich panel.
Certainly will let Dr. Glover speak to that.
This is a great opportunity to just talk about the everyday ABCs of finances. Finance 101, economics 101. Look at your retirement account. Look at your savings account. When is it time to repurpose and reprogram? At what point do you think that you can contribute more? Look at those. Those are the things you want to sit down with your financial advisor and discuss. And all financial advisors are not overly expensive. Some will talk to you for nothing, and some will have very minimum cost. But it's important to talk to a financial advisor so that you can know that you're on the right track, you're going the right direction with your finance, particularly as you get into the retirement, as you approach the retirement year. So it's best to do that. And then just to know how to function through this COVID-19 environment and to stay physically healthy, and because your physical health truly affects your financial health, and vice versa. So this has been a great program. The practical advice that we received, I'm so appreciative to Ms. Ora Douglas and to Ms. Linda Majors for just being the spearheaders of this discussion. So thank you, Albert, and thank you so much for moderating it.
Yes, ma'am. It's definitely been an honor and a pleasure to be here to hear this information, but to also make sure that we have many people that's receiving it. I think this is going to be one that really takes root and creates a true ripple effect in our community, which we know because financial literacy is not something that is the children are exposed to. I know that's a big narrative right now, but I think we have to be more purposeful to get programs as such in front of younger students and giving some practical stuff to families to bring it into the home and have some of those conversations. Because I know growing up, I didn't have those conversations at all. So it was like a disparity. When we first started, we were saying, this is a disparity in our communities about financial literacy and financial health and the understanding of such, which comes from a lack of discussion. So I'm so glad that we're here. This has been absolutely amazing.
And we have different populations. I was in a meeting with college presidents, and one of the presidents was saying that he had to go meet with a student because it wasn't just HBCU presidents in the meeting, it was their majority of presidents too. And he said he had to meet with the student's parent, because the student's parent was trying to determine if he could move money from his 401k or if he would sell the interest he owned in his company. And we just said, what are you talking about? We don't have that kind of population. Our population, they have loans, they get grants, So, and that's why it's so early to start your financial planning early. So you can, you know that you got college that's going to come ahead. You're going to have to go to an HBCU at some point. So, and that's why it's so good to sit down and start thinking about your finances right now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sister Ora.
Yes, one of the other things that I would like to challenge everyone to do during this time is to make sure as the cities and the states open back up, that we support our African-American businesses, our African-American entrepreneurs. They've taken a hard hit as well. And that's one of the things that we have under our economic target is entrepreneurship. So I just wanted to end with that to say, let's help them because they're struggling.
And so we do have a survey that should come up on the screen here soon. And we ask that everyone takes a moment to access that survey. To let us know how things are going. If you enjoyed it, give us some feedback. And if you want to know more, let us know as well. So we invite you to take it. It's a QR code. If you use your QR code, you can do that if you're on your computer. And there's also a bit.ly link. You should also see that link inside of the comments on the live streams on YouTube as well as Facebook. So please take a moment and complete that. It shouldn't take but a couple minutes. We thank you again to each of our distinguished panelists. Being rooted in research means having a firm foundation to continue learning. And we can no longer not include that financial literacy piece. It is a hindrance to us as we continue to journey forth. So I'm glad again that we're here having this discussion and amplifying this discussion. To achieve this, we also need advocates across the board, be it regular education, financial education, physical education. And that's what DTech Tag actually has done since 2014. We have some Tag equity warriors on the ground advocating for education. So please feel free to connect and learn more about those efforts in education advocacy by texting Join Tag to 51555. It is our financial health discussion here will lead all of us, I believe, to a wealth mindset as we continue to educate and advocate. Make sure you visit Alpha Kappa Alpha's website to learn more about their financial initiatives. And on Thursday, we'll be right back here again to continue the series with Iota Phi Theta and the Black Women Health Imperative, which is BWHI. They're going to lead a discussion on the power of community service. Make sure you tune in and share. And on Monday, Memorial Day, there's going to be a Greeks and Grads virtual day party featuring DJ Spinderella. It's almost here. We hope that you have it on your calendar and plan to join us. It's going to be a great time of celebrating 2020 graduates and each of us as we embrace this evolution and soar. So make sure you tune in on Facebook and YouTube to join us on Memorial Day from, I believe it's 12 to 2. And please note that this series is for everyone. Bring a soror, bring a frat, bring a friend, bring a family member, bring a child. This discussion is good. If you have missed some of the previous series, I beseech you to go back and find them. Listen to them. Knowledge is truly power, and this has actually been such an amazing way to bring it forth to our community. Now, enjoy some additional information about the DREF and BGLC collaborations.
For nearly 3 years, DREF Research Matters and the Black Greek Letter Consortium have collaborated to engage our communities through education and awareness events, initiatives, and programs. These efforts promote the need for inclusive research, creating opportunities to reduce health disparities affecting African Americans. On behalf of DREF Research Matters, BGLC, the National Pan-Hellenic Council, and our partners, thank you for joining us for the Rooted in Research webinar series. Please take a moment to complete the Rooted in Research survey by scanning the QR code that appears on your screen or entering the bit.ly link into your URL. You can also access the survey by clicking the link in the comments. Feel free to send questions regarding this webinar or requests for additional information to rootedinresearch2020@gmail.com. To learn more about the All of Us Research Program and its benefits for our communities, visit www.joinallofus.org/DREF.